Listen, we have the new End Times DVD. It investigates End Times investigation. I have a lot of my friends on here, Lisa Haven, Michael Lake. I have Josh Peck, L.A. Marzulli, Stephen Bancrofts. I mean, 8 hours of me investigating things like Satanism, demonic powers, Illuminati, New World Order, Antichrist, one world religion, end times miracles, Bible prophecy. Folks, let me tell you something. One day, what you're watching us on right now, it's called television, it's called social media, it's called the internet. They're going to turn that baby off. You need a hard asset, because when all this stuff gets shut off, this is what you're going to be able to learn from and to understand. So I want you to text the word chosen to 91999, the word chosen to 91999, and get the End Times Investigation DVD. Hey, while you're doing it, you can have this Legalize Jesus t-shirt, okay? Plus you get a Legalize Jesus mug, right? So we'll set you up. All these donations go to support the ministry. It's Germany, 1938. We're in China. But here we can talk honestly, so we're going to talk honestly. And honestly, I'm so tired of the censorship. And if you guys have anything you want to say a little bit later, I'm going to open up the phones, the video, and we're going to talk about it. I'm so done with censorship. It's so disgusting. Speaking of disgusting, I want to bring on Eric McConnell, but not because he's disgusting. It's because Disney's disgusting, and he used to work for Disney. Eric, you there with me, buddy?
I'm here.
I realized that, speaking of disgusting, I'm going to bring on my friend Eric. I'm going, oh no, this ain't right. But you know what I mean, right? I'm talking.
Oh,
about,
sure.
Eric, Disney. I mean, Walt Disney, I know, he's a Mason, but, you know, what do you say? I mean, I don't know. Did you ever meet Walt Disney? Did you ever meet him?
No, I never did. I was too young.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think? What would he say if he saw what was going on today at Disney?
Yeah, I think he'd be shocked. I mean, you know, he wasn't squeaky clean. He had some issues, and yeah, he was confirmed high-level Freemason and all that. But he did have a set of standards that he had for his theme parks, that he had for his programming. Unfortunately, he was a big supporter of magic and all sorts of, you know, delving into that whole theme. I don't know if he had any sort of faith in God or whatever. One thing you'll never see in Disneyland is a church. You know, they try to recreate mainstream USA and all that sort of stuff. And so, but I think the way things are now, yeah, I think he'd be totally shocked, and I think he'd be outraged.
Yeah. So we talked about earlier about these bankers, Luciferian guys, and you know what, Eric, I agree with you, because I come from the world of movie making, and really, you know who owns the movies is the bankers. They're the ones that fund this stuff, you know. If people think for a moment Hollywood's in it to be creative and for the arts, they're out of their mind. They're only in it for the money. What say you on that?
Well, yeah, money is, you know, the love of money is the root of all evil. I think beyond just the bankers, it's an infiltration of this cabal in every segment of our world. I mean, not just the banking industry, but the private sector, the tech world, the social media platforms, entertainment, obviously, sports. It doesn't matter what. You know, there is a desire to dominate, control, and move toward a one world global agenda and bring in a one world government.
Yeah. Do you think they're using Hollywood to do that? Do you think they're, quote, in bed with Hollywood?
Hollywood's their most powerful weapon. I mean, Hollywood is a programming weapon that can shape the course of, you know, our whole culture. You know, it's a lot of people that they may not have a solid, strong moral base or a set of absolutes that govern their lives. Whatever's trending, whatever they can identify with, that's cool, that's hip, that will make them look good, they're going to go with that. So whatever's popular, and pop culture is very, very powerful. It's an influencer. So yeah, if they can get a hold of that, then they can pretty much form and and of course the news media, I left that out, another very powerful programming weapon that's included in the media. So
yeah, you know, we talked about earlier old Hollywood being hijacked and this new evil regime that's come in. You live in California, you're from California. We want to take California back.
I think it's just going to be a grassroots movement of the citizens of California, because everybody wants to beat on California. It's a blue state, you know, a bunch of libtards and all this. It's really not. Most people really just want, you know, family values, and they want a workable economy. That, I mean, just everything. So yeah, I think it's going to be a grassroots movement of citizens in California showing up at school board meetings and showing up at city council meetings and writing their mayor, their governor, or showing up at you know, protest rallies. Along with prayer. Prayer is also key. It's the two.
Yeah, because how in the world does a small little, it's like a bit in a horse's mouth up there in Sacramento, a few wackos that have seemed to control the whole darn state? And yet, I agree with you. There's a lot of you and me out there, and I run into them in California all the time. But how in the world does this little bit control the whole horse? How do they get away with this?
That's a good question. I mean, I've tried to figure that out. I think in part there is a entrenchment of dark demonic forces at work there in Sacramento, keeping these people in power. It's going to have, it's a battle that's going to be need to be fought on multiple fronts.
Yeah, yeah. You know, Eric, the old Hollywood, you and I talked earlier, the old Hollywood needs to come back. Is there a possibility that we can get rid of this perverted Hollywood and bring back the values of the old Hollywood, which was the Judaic Christian values, because Hollywood was founded by Jews, right? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, there was a time in old Hollywood where they were doing these biblical epics, which were some of the you know, Ben-Hur, or The Greatest Story Ever Told, or the Ten Commandments, or stuff like that. Hugely popular. We were talking earlier about old Hollywood. I think a new Hollywood's going to emerge, being built on the ruins of old failed Hollywood. People finally have had enough. You know, the Academy Awards show is just absolutely tanking in the ratings. Nobody cares. Everybody is, they don't want to be virtue signaled to by a bunch of overprivileged, overpaid celebrities, so they're not listening.
Right.
I think it's going to be a new content, new companies, studios, production companies that are going to be doing wholesome content, and they're going to come in and they're going to eclipse whatever, you know, these studios now that are in existence. Either that, or the existing studios are going to get a wake-up call, and they're going to change the focus of the type of things that they create and produce.
That's true. And there's a couple scenarios here. Before I get into the scenarios, which I think could happen, not that I would want them to happen, but I have to put everything on the table. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I did a search to find out how in the world they get away, the bit in the horse's mouth, these little group in there in Sacramento, California. They control the whole darn state, but yet everybody I meet is pretty conservative, you know, so nothing makes any sense, Eric. Well, I did a little study here. And what's happened for the past 10 years, you guys listen to me, it's kind of important, is there's been more people leave California than there has come into California. In other words, the population has been diminishing. But I go, okay, well, fine. Who's leaving and who's coming? That's what I want to know. What's demographics? Well, this is going to shock you. The people that are leaving are the middle to lower class income. They're leaving. Most of them are going to Texas, going to Oregon, Arizona, middle to lower class. Not poverty, not illegal aliens. They're going to stay, and they don't. You don't even know they're here or there or whatever. I'm not talking about them, though it's a huge population. But guess who's coming in? It's the younger people, singles, that are on a very high income level. In other words, they make a lot of money. And Eric, you and I know that if you mix a lot of money with a young mind, it translates to liberalism. It translates to people who are they don't even know what they're doing, or they're easily manipulated. Let's put it that way. So what they are doing, I think intentionally, is they're driving out the middle class because they don't want the conservative values. Those are the ones that are conservative. And they're bringing in, excuse me, the younger people, tech people that are making $200,000, $300,000, half $500,000 a year. And these people are passing liberal laws and voting liberal values. But these Hollywood, these movies that they make, and even these companies that call themselves, like Disney and Nickelodeon, they want to destroy the family, don't they? I mean, they're out for the family, aren't they?
No, they're really not. Again, it's a globalist agenda. It's something that can be traced to, am I allowed to say, the Illuminati and, the secret societies, and this objective to want to basically put the whole world under a global governance and a one world leader, which we believe to be the Antichrist. And they have to move in increments. They can't do it all at once, but it's beginning to ramp up now. You can see what's going on in China. You can see what's going on in Australia. You can see what's going on in Austria and some of the European countries, where they're just taking it to the next level. And they're locking their people down. They're rounding them up and putting them in camps and really getting nasty. China is just off the rails. And so, yeah, they're not interested in a Judeo-Christian moral base, because that's the very thing they want to do away with in order for them to rise to power and bring in their utopia, but it's really a dystopia.
So I want to lay out some scenarios for you, and I want you guys to chime in on this, of how God may deal with California and how this whole transition may happen. And I believe it is going to happen. I believe that there could be an earthquake. California is known for them, but I believe God's people will be protected. Okay. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I believe it can. I believe it's a possibility, Eric. And we're dialoguing right now. So please don't think I'm trying to put a curse on California. But you and I both know, I've been there during 3-4 earthquakes. I mean, we've been down that road. But think about this. California is apostate in the way of there are politicians there and some religious leaders and Hollywood, the heads of studios. They're apostate, they're evil, Luciferian. He's given them warning, okay, over and over again. God's patience runs out eventually, okay? Yeah. He's also given the religious world their warning, okay? We have some big Six Flags Over Jesus churches, and you and I did a show on the NAR church, the New Apostolic Reformation Church. If we have time, we'll talk about it a little bit. But a lot of us in California, God has served them their papers. There's a certain time. If things don't change, there could be an earthquake, but I believe that it could be in a way that God could allow the evil to be taken out and his seeds to remain, his people to remain, so they can rebuild this. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah, it really does. Having lived through some, because I've lived in California my whole life, some monstrous earthquakes, 1971 and then again in 1994. The earthquake that you might be referring to, that was the San Francisco earthquake of 1989. And yeah, there were casualties, there was loss of life, but to get everybody's attention, didn't it happen, help me out here, but right in the middle of the World Series?
Yeah, it did. I was sitting there. I was in a restaurant when it happened. It absolutely did. And we had the 92 earthquake in Northridge. I was right on top of that puppy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, here's the thing though. There are a lot of really on fire Christians in California.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us. There's a remnant here that's very strong, and you kind of have to be if you're going to be living in a state that's so antagonistic to, with far left leaning liberal values and a push towards socialism and, the whole woke movement. This isn't for the squeamish. If you're going to be a Christian in California, or especially Hollywood, you have to be tough as nails.
It would happen supernaturally where God would allow a domino effect where one or two politicians get caught with their hand in the cookie jar. I'm talking higher ups, and they end up going to jail, and it makes national news. And then they spill the beans on the people underneath them in California. And what that'll do, that'll bring the people out from the darkness that's been hiding under a rock and saying, okay, I'm ready to stand up now and do what's right. Because a lot of people are scared. And then it'll enable people like yourself to be able to get up and say, okay, follow me. Let's make this thing happen. But I think that'll happen very quickly if it happens. It's going to be supernatural. You'll look back and go, wow, that was bizarre. Just like we look at now and we see, go, wow, that's bizarre. I think we're going to look at it and go, when the opposite turns, all of a sudden, we're going to say the same thing. Wow, that's a good bizarre. And then all of a sudden, now you got it. Wouldn't it be nice to have a California that was run by Hollywood? The entertainment business was run by someone that would get up, excuse me, in their studio every morning, and they would hold a prayer meeting. Wouldn't it be awesome down on Hollywood Boulevard to have giant revivals down there on the boulevard? Do you know what I'm saying? Wouldn't that be amazing? And I'm believing that could happen.
I believe it can happen too. And it would be wonderful. And I'm right there with you about the accelerating of this process, that it won't take decades of time for something like this to happen, but it's going to be, in other words, it's going to hit critical mass, and something has to give. Either the people are going to be so impoverished by out of control inflation and all the, the policies that put us in this position, and they're going to flee the state, or they're going to lose their homes or whatever, or people are going to stand up, which is kind of the trend I'm seeing now. They're standing up. They're saying, we've gone past the point of no return. And
you're right. Yeah. I notice people aren't really putting up with these elite actors anymore. These the crazies there. How they become so superstarish that they can say anything and people just want to wave palm leaves. I don't see that happening now. People don't want to put up with this nonsense from these crazy actors that make a lot of money off you and I watching. Well, I don't watch their movies, but you know how they used to get up and be able to beat their chest and say something stupid politically, and people would, listen to them. I don't think people want to hear these Hollywood elites talk anymore. Do you? I mean, I think they're getting tired of it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these actors, they've kind of become a parody of themselves, where now it's just a running joke. Yeah. And you see that played out with the ratings for the Academy Awards absolutely tanking. And the public now, I mean, if you go on different forums, there's such a disdain for that virtue signaling and that lecturing from a position of somebody who's making multiple millions of dollars, and they're living in a gated community and, in a lifestyle that we can't even imagine. And they're wagging their finger at us, telling us that, you need to, tighten your belt, and you need to accept everything that just comes your way, in terms of the elimination of standards, values, morals, policies that are just, putting us through the roof.
When it stoops to the point where you've got what's the guy's name? Will Smith smacking, what's his name? Jamie, whatever his name is. I sit there and I said, everybody ought to get smacked in Hollywood. I think they ought to have Hollywood Smack Day. I think Sunshine raised her hand. We have about 2 minutes, Sunshine, go.
I did. I just wanted to comment on the Will Smith thing. And I just wanted to remind people that much as I think the whole thing was extremely stupid, a lot of that happened because they're trying to take away our freedom. And that is just another example of what the liberalism in California is going stupid, because now a comedian who makes a joke, which is how he makes his living, he jokes about everybody, is getting smacked by Will Smith, and nobody does anything about it until after the effect, when they found out, oh, I don't think some people like that. We better act like we care. And that's actually what I saw. When I saw that happen, it just seemed to me that they were smacking our freedoms right in the face. That was what I wanted to share.
I'm so done with these people. I don't think these people really live here on the planet. I think they come down in a spaceship every once in a while and do stupid things like this. It looks like someone raised their hand.
This is Julia, also known as Tia.
Hey, Julia.
I just wanted to quickly interject. I'm from California, escaped 18 years ago. I'm now in Florida. On the Will Smith thing and now the Amber Heard, whatever. I don't follow this stuff closely, but they're both, Will Smith is a victim of narcissism, which is from the dark side. And I could speak volumes about that, but he's a victim of reactionary abuse, which is attack from the devil. Wholeheartedly believe that. Anyway, I just wanted to quickly pop in with that and say I'm so thankful for you and all you do, and thank you so much. And my father, it was my 57th birthday last Tuesday. It's also the day my father passed away in LA, and have a prayer warrior here locally. And I believe that he was brought to Jesus before he passed, and that's a whole nother long story. But anyway, thank you so much for all you do.
Oh, thank you, Julia. God bless you. Thank you for the encouragement. And wow, Will Smith dealing with demons. I can believe that. I have a feeling Julia knows more than what she was just saying. Hey, everybody. I am honored and blessed not to have just one new book out, but 2 new books. That's right, 2 new books. The first one is End Times Investigation. I deal with Hollywood mind control. I deal with demon portals, the alien-demon connection, astral projection, program multiples, satanic ritual abuse, and much, much more. The things that I talk about in Last Evangelist and on my shows, all my interviews I do, it's right here in this book, especially my life story. Also, True Power, how to access your true power in these last days, okay? It's a war manual for God's children. We need to learn the enemy's tactics and how to battle the enemy in these last days. Pick up a copy of this book. Just text the word chosen to 91999, or you can go to davidheavener.tv/order, or you can simply call 844-806-0006. We are David Heavener TV. And who is David Heavener TV? Well, we're television that tells the truth, a platform with no censorship. Why is that important? Because in these last days, as other platforms censor the truth, we stand for it. We have 10 channels of truth, and we're also carried on Roku, Apple, Amazon. 10 channels of truth. The End Times Prophecy channel, the End Times Podcast. We have the original TV series channel where we have our original programming. And if you missed the David Heavener Live, well, you can catch it here in the archives. We have a channel dedicated to The Last Evangelist, which you'll see exclusively on David Heavener TV. We have the Bible and Prayer channel, the Money channel, Health, Healing, and Testimonies, and Exposing Hollywood. We have over 675 original videos. Help us get the truth out. By supporting this ministry, you can go to davidheavener.tv and become a subscriber. And when you do, you'll become part of what we call the underground. It's a community that meets once a week. And we talk about things that the church refuses to talk about, and most social media platforms won't allow us to talk about them. So you sign up, you get a link, you click it, you go underground, you can ask questions, you can make comments, or you can just simply listen. Thank you so much. God bless you guys.